is up, you guys? FilmFan0599 here again, and today we're going to be doing another top 5 list. Today's top 5 list is going to be my top 5 favorite comic book movies of 2017. It is the end year lists are starting, the year-end lists are starting today. And as you all know, I don't just do a best and worst, best and worst list. I do some special lists throughout the entire month leading up to my best and worst lists. And those 3 lists are my top 5 favorite comic book movies, my top 5 most underrated movies, and my top 5 most disappointing movies. And today we're going to be starting those year-end lists with my top 5 favorite comic book movies of 2017. And this year was a really great year for comic book films. I really do think so. I think we had some really fantastic comic book films to come out this year. I really do think this was definitely a fantastic year for comic book movies. Now, to be eligible to be in this list, the movie has to be based on a comic book. In any way, shape, or form, the movie is eligible to be on this list if it is based on a comic book. So, unfortunately, something like Power Rangers will not make this list because it is not based on a comic book. That's based on a children's television show. If this were top 5 superhero movies, that would definitely make this list. But unfortunately, since it's comic book films, it can't be included in the list. So yeah, so if the movie is based on a comic book of any sort, it can make this list. So, without further ado, let's get into the list with my honorable mentions, because I do have honorable mentions for this, and they are Wonder Woman, Justice League Dark, Valerian, the City of a Thousand Planets, and Thor Ragnarok. Those are my honorable mentions for this list. So, without me wasting any more time, let's get into the list with my top 5 favorite comic book films of 2017 with the first pick, the number 5. What is number 5? And it is Kingsman, the Golden Circle. Madness maketh man. You dang right this made the list. I can already see the comments of people being like, oh, you put this over Wonder Woman and Thor Ragnarok? You dang right I did. Okay? You dang right I did. This movie is a blast. Okay? I had so much fun watching this. This movie is a blast from start to finish with awesome humor, awesome action, awesome characters. This movie is just, it's everything I could have possibly have wanted out of a Kingsman sequel. Seriously, I could have asked for more out of a Kingsman sequel than Kingsman the Golden Circle. Seriously, and there goes the snowplower. No, seriously, Kingsman the Golden Circle, it's really fantastic. I really don't get the hate with this. It's everything I could have possibly have wanted out of a sequel to the original Kingsman. It's fun, it's, very over the top, but it's over the top in a good way. And it's just really great, the added new additions of Channing Tatum, Jeff Bridges, Pedro Pascal, just so many great things about this movie. There are some really hilarious moments in this film, definitely some of my favorite, some of the funniest moments you're going to see all year. I love this movie. I definitely love this movie a lot more than most people do. But I just had a blast with this. I can't help it. I had an absolute blast with Kingsman the Golden Circle. Seriously, it's such an underrated film. It's definitely one of my favorite comic book movies of 2017. So, comes in as my number 5. Number 4. Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 2. Here's another one. A lot of people are going to be like, really? But, I'm sorry, this movie is so great and I don't get the hate. I know this movie has an 80-something% on Rotten Tomatoes, but it seems like more people don't like this movie. I don't really see the praise that, they're like, oh, but it has an 81%. Yeah, I really don't hear people talking about this. I really don't. A lot of people either say, when you talk about Guardians 2 with someone will say, oh yeah, it was fine. It wasn't great or anything, but it was fine. And I don't get it. This was, just like with Kingsman, this was everything I could have possibly have wanted out of a Guardians sequel. This has the fun characters like it did in the first movie. This has the great humor, the great action. And I was really invested in the story with Peter and his father. I was interested in seeing where that was going. And where it does lead into with the movie, it's quite interesting. And it's really fantastic. And, of course, Michael Rooker as Yondu, who is like the best character in this entire film. I loved him. And the emotional weight that happens with him in this film, yeah, it's really, really, like, that's another thing I don't hear a lot of people giving this movie credit for. This is definitely one of the most emotional movies of the whole entire year. Like, seriously, that scene at the end is so emotional. Like, I was almost in tears. I'm not even gonna lie about that. Like, that was emotion done right. And I feel like a lot of people do not talk about that. And that's what really Guardians 2 does really well. Really brings that emotion like they did in the first movie. Heck, I think they do the emotion kind of better in this one. Honestly, even though I prefer the first one, I think they did the emotion a little bit better in this one, honestly. Like, just, there are so many great things. Does it have its issues? Yes, but there are so many great things that kind of outshine those issues, honestly. Like, it's a really phenomenal movie, and I really don't get the hate it gets. Like, it is a great movie. Like, seriously, it is so fantastic. Another underrated film from 2017. And a very, very underrated comic book film as well, and it definitely deserves to be on this list. So, coming in now as my number 3 is the Lego Batman movie. Oh man, the Lego Batman movie. Like, you know, when I heard they were going to make a spin-off Lego movie with Batman, I was like, oh, that should be cool and everything. You know, and then when I saw the trailers, I was like, you know, I'm excited for this. I cannot wait to see what they were going to do. And this movie, honestly, kind of somewhat took me by surprise. Like, I knew this movie was going to be really good, but I did not expect the movie to be this great, honestly. Like, I fell in love with this movie. This movie is so fantastic. From the way that they parody Batman's legacy, but also honoring it at the same time is great. Like, I love it when parody movies do that, where they, you know, make fun of the property, but they also honor it in the best way. An example I could give of that was Galaxy Quest. They were making fun of Star Trek, but they also paid homage to it in the best way possible. And that's why I think the Lego Batman movie does with this film. It, you know, makes fun of Batman's legacy, but it also honors it at the same time. And that's what it does really well. Like, the humor is really great, too. Michael Cera as Robin was probably the best casting they could ever do for this movie. He was so great. Zach Galifianakis as the Joker. He is great. I loved him as the Joker in this. Like, seriously, the abundance of characters that they have in this film. Like, the animation is really fantastic. You know, it has kind of like that. I don't know if I want to say, like, stop motion, like, type of, like, Lego type of, animation. It's really great. Like, I really love how they do that with these Lego movies, and it's really fantastic. I love the animation with this film. It's so great. And, you know, the humor is really fantastic, too, like I said before. It's really funny. Like, there were some moments in this film where I was really dying of laughter. Like, it's really, really funny. And, of course, Will Arnett as Batman. He's definitely one of the best Batmans we've ever gotten. I love him as Batman. Who would have thought that Will Arnett would be a perfect Batman? And he really is. He's so great in this film. So yeah, Lego Batman movie, amazing film. Like, seriously, this is still, I still haven't seen Coco yet as I'm making this video, but as of right now, this is still my favorite animated film of the entire year, and I love this movie. It is so great. It definitely deserves to be on my list at number 3, so yeah. Alright, number 2. Number 2 is SpiderMan Homecoming. SpiderMan Homecoming, man. Like, man. This was, you know, as you all know, I am a huge Spider-Man fan. A lot of people tell me I am the living embodiment of this character, and I do love this character and find him very relatable. He's honestly probably the most relatable character to me that I've honestly have related to in my entire life. But, you know, I am a huge fan of this character, and when I heard that Marvel Studios was finally going to get him back, I was like, okay, so he's going to be in Civil War, he's going to get his own movie, and I was so excited to see what they would do with this own movie, and bravo, guys, bravo, you did the best, probably, incarnation of this character that we have seen. Honestly, Spider-Man Homecoming is everything I could have possibly have wanted out of a Spider-Man movie. This is everything I could have wanted, honestly. It is so incredible. I love this movie so much. From Tom Holland's performance as Spider-Man, he is without question the best Spider-Man we have had so far. Like, he really embodies his character. I know some people really love Tobey Maguire. Even there's people that liked Andrew Garfield. But what I think really works with Tom Holland is that he feels like a teenager. Because, you know, that's probably my main problem with both of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's portrayals as his character, is that they didn't really necessarily feel like teenagers to me. Tom Holland feels like a teenager that has superpowers. Like, he really embraces that, and it's great. Like, I love that. He is so fantastic. He really does. He feels like an average kid that has superpowers. And what I love about Spider-Man is that in this movie, he makes mistakes. He's not perfect. He's not a perfect hero. You know what I mean? Like, he's not some guy that's like, yeah, I'm a perfect hero. No, he makes his mistakes, and it's great. And I really like that in this film. And we do see that throughout the movie. It's really fantastic. The humor is really great, too. Like, I really was laughing a lot throughout the majority of the film. Like, it's really funny. Michael Keaton as the Vulture, he's still the best villain of this year. Like, I loved him as the Vulture. He gave such a great performance as the Vulture. Such a commanding performance as well, too. And he was very calm. There was never a time where I felt like he really was, like, yelling. He was a very calm and steady villain, and I love that. And there's a scene in this movie where, you know, Peter and him confront each other, and it's, like, one of the best scenes in the entire film. And it's really, really great. So, yeah, and the action is spectacular, too. I love the action with this movie, seriously, especially towards the end. The end action sequence is really fantastic. And I also loved the role that Tony Stark had in this. You know, it's not very big, but the role that he did have in this fit very well with the film. So, yeah, Spider-Man Homecoming is so incredible. I can't really express anymore, like, how much I love this film. Like, there's so much that I love about this movie that is so incredible. Like I said, it's everything I could possibly have wanted to have a Spider-Man film, and it is quite phenomenal. So, yeah, Spider-Man Homecoming comes in as my number 2. And my number 1 favorite comic book movie of 2017 is Logan. Alright, I'm pretty sure this comes as a surprise to no one, since this is probably going to be everyone's number 1, let's be for real. But, you know, I can't help it. Logan was honestly quite breathtaking. Like, I'm sitting there in the theater watching this movie and just being absolutely blown away. Like, I was blown away by this movie because it was so different from a lot of comic book movies. This is very grounded, very almost Western-like. This was almost kind of like a Western superhero film. And, you know, it just tells the story of this guy that's just broken. He's done. He's just like, I just want to die. You know, I don't have anything to live for anymore. I just want to die. And, you know, I really like that about that, and it really shows how, you know, really shows with the performance of Hugh Jackman, who should be nominated for this movie. Seriously, like, this is Academy level performance, like Academy Award worthy performance. Like, he is phenomenal in this movie. This is by far his best portrayal of the character he has ever done. Like, I love him in this movie. He gives such a great performance. Like, I love the broken nature that he gives it with this performance in this film. It's so broken. It's so emotional as well. Like, I love it. And I love his chemistry with him and X-23. Like, I love the chemistry between the both of them in this movie. Like, I love that. And X-23 was a great character as well. I forgot the little girl that played her, but, you know, she does a great job in this movie, too. Definitely one of the best child performances I've seen in a long time, honestly. Like, she is really great. And, of course, Patrick Stewart as Professor X. Incredible. Like, I loved him in this movie. He gives such a phenomenal performance in the film. He is really great. And just the emotion and the grittiness and kind of the groundness, I guess you could say, with this movie is really great. Like, I really love how level-headed this movie is. Except when it comes to the violence. When it comes to violence, it's out of control. Like, it was great to finally see the Wolverine that we have been waiting for years. and it is all bloodied, all guts out glory. It's great, and especially once you get to that third act of the movie, it's so satisfying. I love it so much. And speaking of that third act, what happens at the end of it, of course I won't spoil it just in case you haven't seen it, but what happens in that third act is definitely one of the most emotional things I've seen, not just all year, but ever. What happens at that ending is really, truly emotional, and really almost, like, I almost burst into tears because it was just that emotional to me. I'm not a guy that cries a lot during movies, but this was close. This was really, really close. Like, seriously, this, man, that ending, that's probably that and War for the Planet of the Apes are, like, my favorite endings of the entire year. Seriously, like, the way that this movie ends is incredible. It ends on such a, not necessarily, it ends on a good high note. I'll say that. It ends on a good high note, and I love that, and it's really fantastic. So yeah, Logan, without question, easily is the best comic book movie of 2017. It has great acting, great emotion, great action as well, great directing. James Mangold does a great job directing the film. It's so fantastic. If you have not seen this movie yet, do yourself a favor and go and watch it. It is definitely, without question, worth your time. It's an amazing film. Definitely deserves to be my best comic book movie of 2017. So that was my top 5 best comic book movies of 2017. Now I leave the question to you. What are your top 5 best comic book movies of 2017? Leave them in the comment section below. And I'm FilmFan0599, and we will see you all later. Peace.